Hello students, your instructor here again, John Mandela with another screencast. This one is about op art, or optical art. You can also read about this in chapter 8 in your textbook, which I strongly recommend. And one of my favorite optical artists, one of my favorite artists of all time, is M.C. Escher. This one is the Perpetual Waterfall, I believe it's called. And you can see that, although it's very intricate and interesting and drawn very astutely, it's extremely impossible for this to ever happen. There's no way that this drawing could ever be realized and constructed, but the drawing of it is magnificent, and it's an incredible artistic feat to do this. More of a mental feat, really, because the drawing itself isn't overly complex. Some 45-degree angles and some squares and cylinders, but to conceive of this and then to draw it is magical. Another M.C. Escher image that many have seen, it's common in public schools and libraries and things of that sort, is the bird that ends up as a fish. And you can see that the use of negative space to positive space here is what's amplified. Again, drawing of it not overly incredible, but the concept, phenomenal. You know, who would think to see a fish in the negative space of birds, and vice versa. On some other optical art. Now, if it looks like you're having a hard time focusing and it makes your eyes all buggy, that's part of what optical art is. Understanding that when you have these points of convergence, it's called tension, and when the contrast is that high, and we all know there's no higher contrast than white and black next to each other, that it creates these it's called sparkle effect. And what it looks like, aside from those buggy spots, it looks like that this obviously it's flat, but it looks like there's these little pyramids or domes, pyramids, constructed along the way. But really it's all just flat line work. But it's understanding that when you do that, these angles, these points of convergence and such, it tells our minds, wait a minute, there must be some kind of dimensional quality going on here. And here's where it really blows your mind, is the peak of the pyramid here, to where this is going back down to earth, so to speak, in this direction, or is the peak here, and this is going back down to earth? And you can't say it's both, because this is either going down this way, or it's going down this way. So, again, optical artists understand this, and they create art that exploits that. Here's another piece, a more recent piece. It's done in a program like Photoshop or After Effects or Illustrator. Again, it's flat, it's all created, but because they all converge at one point, it looks like there's actual depth there. Like this kind of just goes on and on and on, like a tunnel. And the use of color helps that, so it's a jet black background, these bright colors and the bright white in these kind of tubes or waves helps us carry our eye that way, and it's just enough black until it gets to the point of convergence back there. So, and because, again, that amount of black is so thin, as it gets closer, it almost seems like a vibrating is going on, and your eye almost starts to see curves, almost armadillo-like, in this area of the image right here. Now, M.C. Escher is an oldie but a goodie. We owe a lot of optical art thinking to him. And Victor Vasarely, he is another man to which we owe a lot in the world of optical art. Now, this wouldn't be incredibly difficult to create in a program like Illustrator or Photoshop nowadays, but knowing that it was created in the 40s, 50s, that's pretty noteworthy. And you can see what he's doing is, obviously this is flat. He's painting all flat. He has a grid set up, maybe multiple grids set up. He understands perspective very well. And when he sets the colors in the way that he does, and the tones and saturation levels of those colors, it creates a 3D illusion. Okay, so the background is black. That allows us to focus on the colors, not on the background. Then when you have things like when it's lighter and desaturated here, that's going to be, that's a shine spot. Then when it gets darker and more saturated right there, that's a heavy shadow. And he uses them in a way that seem to create some kind of odd geometric happening.